All he does is cry, 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 and cry, and it's annoying. It really is. I don't know how Clemson fans put up with it. He can't move on. He's like White Randy talking about his 7th grade PE class. Move on, dude. It's over. So yeah, I really don't know how to ease into this. We're just going to jump straight into things. Dabo Swinney, he's crying yet again. One thing that I think is so important in this life is whenever you lose in anything, it's best just to shut your mouth, take the L, and move on. Don't say anything. The more you say, the more you're going to make it look worse. And at this point in time, Dabo Swinney has failed to do that. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. I think he sounds dumb. That's all there is to it. That's one of the main topics we're going to speak on. And also, we got to update, a weird update at that, on the Auburn quarterback situation. If you haven't been keeping up with this Auburn football team, one of the biggest problems they've had all throughout the season up until this point is a quarterback spot. I know, right? Weird, because out of every position for a Hugh Freeze team to have struggles, the last position you'd think it'd be is the quarterback position. Hugh Freeze is supposed to be this quarterback-friendly head coach, and I thought that was going to be the case. I seriously thought Peyton Thorne was going to have a great year for Auburn. But up until this point, even stating that it's been a bad year for that Auburn offense and Peyton Thorne, that might be sugarcoating it. And yesterday, Hugh Freeze gave us a little update on what's going on, and I found it rather interesting. We're going to talk all about that. Those are the two topics we're going to speak on, and yeah, that's all there is to it. All right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, where do y'all want to start out with this? Well, I say we say the best for last, and let's get this Auburn topic out of the way. We're only going to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes, but I do want to bring it up and share with you guys. As we all know, for Auburn, in the offseason, they had a lot of big changes for that program. Not only did they get the new head coach in Hugh Freeze, but they also got a new quarterback. And I wouldn't go as far as to saying I thought Auburn was going to breeze through SEC play and they was just going to dominate on offense, but I will say this, I thought they'd be doing way better than what they've done. It's been rough and it's been shaky, and also, who would have thought you would ever be saying this? But the best part about this Hugh Freeze-led Auburn team is the defense, not the offense. I know, it's weird, and it's still taking me time to adjust to the fact that Hugh Freeze has a better defense than offense. To make an extremely long story short, though, the Auburn passing game, it's been wishy-washy. Not too good, and that is somewhat shocking to me because Peyton Thorne was considered one of the best quarterbacks in the transfer portal, and he was a good quarterback for Michigan State. To me, at least, I am a little bit shocked that it hasn't worked out. But the bottom line is, like I just said, it hasn't worked out. As to where it stands today, before they play Saturday, Peyton Thorne only has 561 passing yards, not too good, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. His QBR is right in the middle of average, 57.6. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, these numbers, they do it pretty good justice. I've watched every single one of Auburn's games, and yeah, these numbers just tell you the entire story. And yesterday, Hugh Freeze came out and spoke about the Auburn offense and, more importantly, Peyton Thorne. He stated, quote unquote, "We had a good meeting Sunday night. I feel like there are things our staff has let him down on," referring yet again to Peyton Thorne. Some of it is him, and he knows that and owns it. "I promised him we would do a better job coaching him this week and preparing him." When you say coaching him, it means also the other positions need to be in the right spot at the right time for him. To go on top of that, Hugh Freeze also stated that Peyton Thorne, he needs to be a little quicker with his decision making. Here's what he said. He understands the game from a mental perspective, and when the ball is snapped, he knows this dig should be the throw, and if it's not the right time from the receiver, it throws him off. Obviously, that leads to sacks. We've got to do a better job helping him with that. At the same time, when you have a wheel route that is wide open, you got to hit it. Or seam route. He seemed distracted in the pocket, so we worked on pocket presence a good bit this week. Like I said in the intro, I thought that was fairly interesting. So on one hand, you had Hugh Freeze stating, "Yep, it's our fault. We haven't done good enough of a job of preparing him." And then on the other hand, you also had Freeze stating, "Hey, some of that's on Peyton Thorne. He's got to make the throws." And don't get it twisted, this is not Hugh Freeze calling out or throwing shade at Peyton Thorne. No. He's just stating the obvious. Everybody can see that. Everybody can see that Peyton Thorne, he's missed a couple throws and he doesn't look comfortable out there. And it goes back to Hugh Freeze's point. I think it's a combination of both things. It's a combination of the wide receivers haven't helped him out a lot. Hugh Freeze, they haven't prepared him greatly or great. And Peyton Thorne himself, he hasn't been great. And when you combine all that, boom, it creates for a disaster. And make no mistakes about it, this Auburn offense has been a disaster. I did want to share this with y'all because I have a question. Please let me know in the comment section. You know who Auburn plays this weekend, right? Georgia. So, here's my question. Do you think Peyton Thorne, this Hugh Freeze offense, they can turn things around? I'll tell you this much, they got a great challenge ahead of them. I don't expect them to fully turn around against Georgia, but this is going to be a good game to show you where you're at. We'll see what happens there, we'll see. But now finally, moving on to the main topic of the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video. What in the crap is going on with Dabo Swinney? Good old Dabo Swinney, aka washed up head coach. I'm just playing, or actually am I just playing? Is he washed up? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. Here's what isn't up for debate. Clemson is currently 2-2. They're not having a good start to this season, and I honestly believe if you were to tell a Clemson fan a month or two ago you were going to start the season 2-2, they wouldn't have believed you. There's no way. They were like, wait, what? Where's the 2 losses? 3-1, yeah, you could understand that because they'd say, oh, yeah, we played Florida State. We probably lost to them, but where's the other loss? Moving along here, though, check out what Dabo Swinney had to say about his team. We've only got one senior on offense in Putman, so I think not just them, but we got a lot of really, really talented guys on this team that, you know, they're learning a lot of lessons. They're learning that every game is the biggest game of the year at a place like Clemson, and they're learning that the difference in championship caliber games is one play, literally one play. And I agree with him from that standpoint, but here's the quote that's got everybody talking. He continued along, I mean, these guys without a doubt are 3 plays away from being 4-0. That's a fact. And being top 3, top 4 in the country, and everybody's telling them how great they are. That's how small the margin for our era is when you're in championship level football. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. A couple plays, or 3 plays away, my apologies, from being 4-0? Are we sure about that? 3 plays. Well, let's look at this. You lost to Duke 28-7. I'll give you the 1 play. You're 1 play away from beating Florida State. I'm cool with that. But that would mean if you use one of those plays against Florida State, you'd only be 2 plays away from beating Duke, and that wasn't the case. Best case in scenario, and I'm not going to break this down too much because it doesn't matter, and I'll explain why in just a second, you were 3 to 4 plays away from beating Duke. So I don't know where he's getting this we're 3 plays away from being 4-0. That's just jibber jabber bull crap. You didn't lose on an untimed down last second play against Duke. You lost by 3 touchdowns. And you got lucky Duke screwed up in the first half because it could have been like 42-7 if Duke didn't mess up. And I'm not going to show you any more of this interview because after reading that and after I heard that, I was like, what? No, I'm done. I'm done listening to this. This is dumb. It's stupid. It's like the what if game. He's playing the butterfly effect, and we can do this all day long with anything. You know what the butterfly effect is. It's like when people say, oh, well, if this happened, then this would have happened, then if this would have happened, then this would have happened, then this would have happened, and then so on, blah, 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 blah. It's stupid, man. It really is. And a lot of people are joking on Dabo in the comment section. Look at this comment. If mine had ball, she'd be... That's literally the same thing that Dabo's trying to say. It's about the same logical explanation because you're just throwing out too many what ifs. The only what if that was respectable was Alabama last year. Everybody's like, oh, well, Alabama's 2 plays away from being undefeated. And I'll be the first person to tell you that because they were. They lost on 2 last-second plays, literally. But at the same time, I also was smart enough to recognize this. Alabama was also 2 or 3 plays away from being 8-4. It goes both ways. It's football. It comes down to a couple plays at the end of the day. But to me, at least, it just seems like Dabo can't get over the fact that, number 1, he's washed up, and number 2, he's no longer a championship contender. All he does is cry, and it's annoying. It really is. I don't know how Clemson fans put up with it. Because I tell you this much, as an Alabama fan, if Nick Saban was crying this much, I'd get sick and tired of it. I don't think some of y'all understand, but to say something like this, what Dabo said, you got to be a little delusional. 3 plays away from being 4-0. You lost a game 28-7, my man. And it's not just this, guys. It's so many different things that Dabo does. What was he doing a couple years ago? Complaining about the NIL, complaining about the transfer portal and saying, oh, yeah, we're never going to use the portal. We don't need the portal. We've won championships without the portal. And well, what do you know? He hasn't used the portal and it's caught up to him. I don't care who you are, how successful you are. Everybody knows this. This is common knowledge. If you don't adapt and you don't evolve in business, sports, anything, you're going to crumble. And the difference is with Nick Saban, yeah, he may say, oh, yeah, I'm not a fan of NIL. I'm not a fan of the transfer portal, but he doesn't cry about it. He'll use it. He doesn't care. At the end of the day, Nick Saban is mature enough to realize, yeah, I don't like this, but it is what it is. It's the new reality, and I'm just going to try to use it to my advantage. There's no reason to cry about it. It just seems like with Dabo Swinney, time after time, it's always something. And it's not like in this interview, they even brought up being 4-0. He's the one who brought it up. He's the one who brought up the close losses. He can't move on. He's like White Randy talking about his 7th grade PE class. Move on, dude. It's over. It's over, man. You lost. And guess what? You'll probably lose another game sometime this year. I don't know where and I don't know when, but you probably will. I want to like Dabo Swinney. I really do. And this is just my perspective. He makes it so hard to like him. Like every time I try to come around, I'm like, I'm kind of liking this guy. He does something where I'm like, all right, back to not liking him. I'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts down below. But